Okay, this is Mike Benoit, and this is another episode of Tyranny Busters. We're going to try to peel off some of the layers of the tyranny onion that's on your mind. It's controlling you in your thought process. This video is about defining what a criminal is. And of course, I know that the Matrix has defined what a criminal is. You just pull out one of those Webster's dictionary or whoever, American Standard Dictionary, whatever they are, and you'll find their definition of criminal. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a different definition of a criminal and see what you think. Now, each of us has a right to defend our life, our liberty, and our property. And if somebody violates any of those things, our life, our liberty, or property, when I say they violated, I'm going to use the caveat without our consent, because let's say we let them use our car and they break it. Well, they didn't violate our property unless they did it intentionally. So, but if they took your car without your consent, intentionally or not, they violated your property. So they're a criminal. Anybody that violates your life, liberty, or property without your consent is a criminal, or your right to defend those things. So let's say somebody steals your wallet, obviously, criminal. Somebody attacks you without provocation, criminal. Someone murders or rapes, criminal. Someone that commits fraud, criminal. So any of those things. So what about someone who writes a law that says you cannot smoke marijuana? They violated you. They're a criminal. It might be a little different definition than you're used to. What about if somebody arrests you for that violation of that criminal act of writing a law to violate you? The police officer or public servant or whatever arrests you for that. He's a criminal. Yes, he's a criminal. Violated you, your right to life, your right to defend your life, your liberty, and your property, and to use it in any way you see fit, as long as you're not using it in a way that causes damage to someone's equal rights. Now, someone wants to go down the road and say, well, using drugs and, you might get on behind the wheel. They can't use that excuse when alcohol is legal and all these other things are legal. Or you might be tired and you're endangering somebody else's life. Were they going to control that too? So this trying to take control over what is not yours to take control over is a tyranny. And controlling people's minds is a worse tyranny. So let's look up what Thomas Jefferson had to say about that. A tyranny upon the mind is that he had swore an eternal hostility on the altar of God over every form of tyranny upon the mind of man. And so do I. It's lies, deceit over the mind. Those are tyrannies that we all should hate. And this legal system is riddled with tyrannies where we're paying criminals to violate people, like the police officer. And then what happens next? All the courtroom employees, they're in there and they're getting paid to violate these people. And then you're told by the judge who's paid to violate these people that you must violate those people too, convict them, and put them in prison, or be the cause and source of being them put in prison. And you remember, that wasn't a legitimate excuse if you were a Nazi and just carrying out orders. So what about people, now they're in prison, and people that are guarding them? They're criminals too. Here we have the innocent and all these criminals lining up to violate. And a society that's in the matrix that's okay with that. They may complain about it, but not to the degree of understanding that I'm trying to communicate here. They might be okay with that, but they want to complain about an income tax, or they want to complain about a gun law that violates them. Criminal legislators again, and on and on. So now we got the guards that are guarding these people. They're criminals. And what about the people that are making a profit feeding these people? And they steal the money from taxpayers to feed these people who are victims, not criminals. So now they're participating in this. And they're participating in this criminal act and making a profit off of it. And this goes to what? Probation officers and et cetera. And then some of these people, other people down the line, this thing just continues to go on down the line. And maybe some of these people are prosecuted, put in prison for drugs. Their kids are put into the government socialist welfare scenario for kids that don't have the parents now. And all of those people. So what you got is a society that's so perverse that the innocent is being lumped in with real criminals, and it's criminals that are engaged in punishing innocents, and part of the time they're engaged in punishing criminals. And so it's so convoluted. And then what you got is a society. Society is so complacent with this. Even guys that have been a victim of this stuff, once they're out of the abuse and violation of criminal thugs who are masquerading around as government agents, and this is another thing, I've gone off into a tangent with anarchists. They want to blame government. Government thugs. People are the ones that commit these acts of violation. But what do? They just do it no matter what. So who's the criminal? When will we learn the difference? This has been another episode of Tyranny Busters. Thank you for tuning in.